The Alligator's Problem by Robert Sargent. Just from looking at the pictures, what do you think this book could be about? Once, not long ago, there was an alligator of excellent quality who lived in the house of a very fine lady. The house had many little windows and doors, and the roof could be seen standing high among the tall grasses on the edge of a small village. Everyone knows that alligators make very fine bags. This one was extremely friendly and smiled most of the time, so he was just a pet. Whenever the fine lady went to parties, she dressed in her most beautiful clothes, tied a string around the alligator's neck, and brought him along. The alligator liked the house, the fine lady, and the parties very much. But he had a problem. He thought of many ways to solve it, but there never seemed to be a best one. Sometimes he would sing a little song, trying to forget about it, but even that didn't help. The fine lady let the alligator sleep under her bed at night. No matter how hard he tried to keep his eyes closed, they always popped open again. He couldn't help himself. He was afraid of the dark. He kept his eyes open all night long and thought about the darkness. He wished and wished that the day would come. He loved it when the birds sang and the sun came up. The night was different. From under the bed, the fine lady's room seemed like the darkest place in the world. Near the house was a garden where wonderful blossoms nodded their heads. The alligator usually took his afternoon naps there. He loved to sniff the sweet odors as they drifted above his head. One day, while sunbathing, he heard a soft little stepping sound. He rolled his eyes first to the left, then to the right, but there didn't seem to be anyone at all nearby. He thought that he must be dreaming. Suddenly, an ant stood before him, smiling curiously into his face. The ant remarked that the alligator looked a bit tired and that he certainly should take better care of his health. "That may be so," said the alligator. "I don't sleep much at night. After a time, I guess it begins to show." The ant was very surprised. "Why can't you sleep at night? Does the fine lady have so many parties?" "Oh, no," answered the alligator. "I'm very lucky to live here. You know, she lets me sleep under the bed. The trouble is, I can't sleep at all." "Maybe the bed is too low and you feel closed in?" "No, no," said the alligator. "It's not that. It's a very cozy place indeed." "Well, then it must be something else," murmured the ant. He thought for a moment. "Strange! Have you tried counting sheep? Sometimes that helps. I have a cousin who stands on his head in bed and goes to sleep that way. However, I wouldn't suggest it." The alligator looked around timidly, and then he whispered, "I wouldn't tell my friends about it, but I'll tell you. I'm afraid of the dark." And he looked down at his toes. The ant smiled kindly and looked deep into the alligator's eyes. "Don't be afraid of the dark, dear friend. I know much about the night. I can explain it to you." The ant climbed up the stem of a small flower nearby, sat down on the softest part of the blossom, and began to speak. "Night is the darkness of the day. All the flowers and all the animals and all the girls and boys are sleeping at this time. You must never be afraid of the dark." "That's very easy to say," said the alligator, "but when I'm alone in my bed and thinking about it, I get nervous. I don't like it a bit." "Well," said the ant, "you don't want to miss the things that are happening in the day, do you?" "No, I don't," agreed the alligator. "And you need your rest, don't you?" "Yes, I do," the alligator nodded again. "Then the best time of day for sleeping is at night when everybody else is doing the same." "Everybody?" the alligator scowled. "Just about everybody," the ant said, smiling. "But," said the alligator, "what about the shadows?" "Shadows are very fine," answered the ant. "Shadows are our silent friends. They stay nearby always. They like us. You're never alone when you have a shadow." Does the moon have a shadow? Naturally, the moon's shadow is behind him. A shadow is a companion, and everything must have a shadow. Right there in the flower garden, the alligator could see his shadow, and for the first time, it made him feel good inside. What about the noises? Asked the alligator. I hear noises in the night. The ant replied, They are the same noises that you hear during the day, only at night you think about them more. That makes them special to you. But the noises don't hurt anyone. Noises are only noises. The ant crossed his legs and went on. High up in the sky there lives a little man who takes care of the stars. He dusts them off and fixes their twinkle so that the nights will be more beautiful. Each star is hung with silver strings on little pearl nails, and each is polished with cotton clouds. The little man is very busy throughout the night until the sun returns again. The alligator put his tail in the daffodils because he was so happy to hear someone tell about the night. The night is the most beautiful time of the day, I guess, because everything everywhere is resting, he said thoughtfully. The alligator smiled and thanked the ant. The ant slipped down the flower stem. I hope things go better now, he said as he waved goodbye. The alligator lay quietly among the flowers. The fine lady came into the garden and sat with him. Together they watched the sunset behind the mountains. The alligator became happier and happier as he saw the shadows grow taller and the flowers close for the night.